Good morning and rise and shine Franklin County on this Monday morning. We hope that you had a wonderful weekend and are ready to get that work week or that school week kicked off in the right way. And we're ready to get Rise and Shine kicked off in the right way this week. So we're going to be talking with the fine folks from Dudley Elementary on this Monday morning. We're going to start it off with the adults of the group. If you would, introduce yourself and your role at Dudley Elementary.
I'm Dana Kelly. I'm the principal at Dudley, and I have with me Jacqueline Keith. She's our third grade teacher and a faculty member who's on the Lighthouse team.
Absolutely. And as you know, as a Rise and Shine viewer, every first Monday of the month we have a different elementary school, middle school, or the high school on to talk about what's going on in each particular school. So I think we kick off this morning and talk about the great things that have went on up until this point at Dudley Elementary this year.
Well, Kevin, up until this point, we've had a fantastic year. We started the year off in the fall with our color run hosted by our PTO. They are fabulous. They do this huge color run event that supports our school. They raise lots of money, so we get to apply for grants to help support some things that happen in the classroom, so the money directly goes to our school. We've also gone through a recertification process. We are a Leader in Me school, and so every 2 years we go through a recertification process, and we've done that this fall, so that was a big deal. And also our fourth graders participated in NAEP testing. It's a national assessment where it compares Virginia students to students across the country. So we've done that since Christmas, and we're getting ready for our Leadership Day.
Absolutely, and that's what we're here to talk about this morning. Specifically is that Leadership Day. So kind of give us a little bit of a primer on what we can expect from that.
Okay, so we are a Leader in Me school, and our behavior program, everything that we do really centers around leadership skills. And I know you've probably read the book, The 7 Habits of Effective People by Stephen Covey. Well, this is a program very similar to that. We use the 7 habits, but it's in student terms, children terms.
So it really, the 7 Habits really builds culture in our school. It really establishes a sense of community with our kids and our parents and our community. It lets students be in charge of their learning. They hold themselves accountable in the classroom. They make their own choices. So I've just brought a little example of the 7 habits and how we use them in our room. And we have our room, and we have the 7 habits displayed in our classroom. So some of the 7 habits that we have in our classroom, it really begins with the student. So they start with being proactive and knowing that they're in charge of themselves. They have to make their own choices. They have to be accountable for their choices. One habit that we really stress is really to begin with the end in mind, and that means they have to think of what they're working for. We do a lot of goal setting in the classroom. So every 9 weeks the kids get together and they say, well, what can we do academically and outside of school, set goals. And then every 9 weeks we kind of come back together and say, did we meet those goals? And we set new goals for the kids. So the kids really work a lot at synergizing with one another. They work collaboratively in teams. And then in every classroom we have a Leader of the Week. So one of our students in our classrooms get to be a role model for the rest of the students during the week, and we have leadership jobs in the classroom. So everybody has a chance to lead and to do something. And it really, I feel like it really just sets them up for those life skills that they are working toward. They use them at home, they use them at school. And it's just really rewarding to watch them use those skills.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely. And for those that may not be in the know about the rest of those skills, what are the rest of the 7 skills there?
So we talk about being proactive and being in charge of themselves. We talk about beginning with the end in mind, like I talked about. Putting first things first. We teach kids how to, you really have to do the things that are important first. So that teaches responsibility. You've got to go home, you've got to do your homework, and then you have time to play. And these first 3 habits really start with themselves. And then as you work up into the 7 habits, it becomes more about team building and working collaboratively with other students, peers, home, families. So think win-win, everybody can win. How can we come to conclusions where really everybody is successful? Habit 5 is to seek first to understand. and to be understood. Listen, everybody has a voice, and you have to listen and make sure that everybody is able to communicate with one another. And habit 6, like I said, is synergize. And synergize, we really encourage our students to be leaders and work with one another. And when conflict may arise, then they have those strategies to really work them out together. And we really try to establish those skills. And habit 7 is sharpen the saw, balance. Balance to everything. We have Sharpen the Saw clubs every 9 weeks where kids get to participate in different activities that they enjoy to really to celebrate their success in the classroom.
So do something more than work.
Yeah, do something more. We have where the leaders of our school, they come together and they choose different Sharpen the Saw clubs, and then kids separate into different groups and work with different kids, and it's a fun day to watch.
Is this something that you see develop as the year progresses? You have summertime period where things are forgotten or maybe pushed aside at home and other places. Things are a little bit lax, and you get back into school. Do you see as the year progresses, these leadership skills start to come back and make a difference in the school?
We do. We see that no matter whether you're in kindergarten or first grade or fourth grade or fifth grade, we always need to revisit the habits because it's important that we continue to grow, and as we grow, those habits need to, they change with our responsibilities, they change with our maturity, and so we have to always revisit them and take a look at what does that mean to me now that I'm older.
Right.
Definitely. And moving forward towards this Leadership Day, what is Leadership Day now that we've kind of established the program at the school and the impact that it's have? What is this Leadership Day?
Well, Leadership Day happens once a year, usually in the spring. It's an opportunity for our students and our faculty to invite guests into our school and show them what leadership at Dudley is all about. So every year we take on a different theme, and this year we're going to take on the theme of a museum walk. Okay. So our guests will come in and they will have the opportunity to walk through the 7 habits as portrayed by our students. It's completely student-led, and it's kind of up to them as to what they do. We allow them that creativity to show their genius and what they're used to, what they enjoy. It's really more about the whole child as opposed to just academics. It's also about what they enjoy and what they're good at, and really showcasing that.
It seems to not only showcase that leadership aspect, but kind of a theme we've had with the school system this year are this ideas of project-based learning.
Right.
And it seems like this goes hand in hand with, it's not just about academics, it's about creating the whole student.
That's right. We really want to have critical thinkers. And so our task for them will be to, here's your habit, how do you show this to the world and how do you interpret it? So it may be different at every grade level.
Absolutely.
And they're able to take these skills home with them. We even do a program at our school where, they get caught being a leader at home, and parents send in, certificates saying, this child's been caught being a leader at home. So it's really a way for them to show the community what it's like to be a leader and to really stand up as a leader.
I know we're going to have an opportunity to hear from some of the students about this, but kind of from the adult perspective, how have you saw this in action in the school, without maybe giving specific examples, but I know that looking from the top down, you see this each and every day.
Right. It's really an opportunity for me to, when I'm meeting with students that maybe are having conflicts, to reflect back on who's in control of them. Do they have a choice? What choices do they have? And use the language of a leader to really help them work through their problems and conflicts. So I find that, in the classroom, I see it in the classroom, but also personally, how they're able to mature and grow and take responsibility for their own life.
Absolutely. Well, before we meet the young folks that you brought with us, with you this morning, anything else from Dudley that you would like the folks out there to know about, or maybe that would interest them?
Well, I would invite them. We are going to have some invitations going out. It'll be on Facebook, on our Facebook page. But anyone interested in coming to learn about leadership at Dudley, just let us know.
Absolutely.
Love to have them.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for coming out bright and early on this Monday morning. We're going to take a quick break, give you a chance to fill up that coffee mug, listen to our wonderful sponsors, and we're going to be back with more Rise and Shine right here on your neighborhood network, Cable 12. Good morning again and Rise and Shine on this Monday morning. We've talked a little bit about Leadership Day at Dudley, and now we have an opportunity to hear firsthand from some great fifth graders at Dudley Elementary about what's going on in their school. So if you ladies would introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in.
I'm Emma, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm on the Student Lighthouse team.
I'm Abby, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm also on the Student Lighthouse team.
So for somebody who doesn't know what it is, what is the Student Lighthouse team?
We are a committee that we make important decisions for the school, and we are a big role model for our school.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy that? Is it a lot of pressure? Is it fun?
It's really
It's
fun
fun.
because we get to do the announcements a lot, and we get to help out with a lot of the younger kids.
Yeah, and we talked about with the adults in our first segment about, and you've got the book there. If you could hold that up for folks to see, the 7 Habits of Happy Kids. And we kind of went through those 7 habits and kind of from a fifth grader, a student perspective, kind of talk about those habits and how they you deal with them each day.
You use them each day to help us, like, you are in charge of you, and like would have a plan and work first and play so you can get your work done and then have extra time to do what you need to do.
This helps you be very intelligent, and makes you ready for the next grade, and makes you a better person by being a leader and helping other people feel that way.
Absolutely. So it sounds like that's one of the main things about it, is just making you a better person, not only for yourself, but for the people around you, to kind of help guide your decisions, right? Because I know you have a lot of choices every day as a fifth grader. Probably when you get home, you don't necessarily want to do your homework first, right? You'd rather go and do something else, but you know how important it is to do what's important first, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens when you don't do your homework when you get home?
You forget about
You
it.
forget about it, or you end up just not doing it, right? Which isn't a good thing.
And then sometimes you might get consequences at school.
Sure, absolutely. What about, as you look at these different steps, being proactive, you're in charge. As a fifth grader, what does that mean that you're in charge? Because, most people out there listening today think, fifth grader, what are they in charge of? But what does that mean to you?
You're in charge of your learning, and you are making sure you are the best you can be.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's important?
Yes,
Yes.
very.
Do you think that all 7 of these are important?
Yes.
Absolutely. And so what about this Leadership Day? Tell us a little bit more about that. What are you guys doing to prepare for that?
Leadership Day is March 29th. We are doing a leadership museum, and parents are allowed to walk around the classrooms and look with how their kids are using the 7 habits at our school and showing leadership.
They also get to learn what we're working on, and they can learn how we're leaders and how they can be leaders as well.
Do you think that you've taken this outside of school and maybe to your home or to other places that you go and kind of shown other people how to be leaders?
Yes.
That they talked about, if you get caught at home doing something bad, there's repercussions for it, but you're also able to get caught at home being a leader, right? With those certificates. Have you had that happen yet?
I think once or twice.
Once or twice?
Yes.
Do you think it's important to be a leader or to have those skills that a leader has?
Yes.
It's really important so you can help other people be that way, and if you help them, then they will help other people, and it just helps the community and how people feel about each other.
Yeah. It just continues to spread out from this person to this person. How do you, as a fifth grader, that next step, next year you're going to be going to the middle school. You may come into contact with kids from other elementary schools, or you will, who may not have had this leadership opportunity to learn about this. Do you think that that's going to be important and making Dudley important as a whole?
Yeah, it shows we make good decisions, and it shows that we are able to get our work done.
And when we go to middle school next year, being a leader might help us get more friends.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because people want to follow a leader, right? And if it's a difference between being a good leader and a bad leader, right? Because in school, and those of you watching at home can remember, somebody you may have followed when you were in school who wasn't a good leader and maybe led you down the wrong path or led you to do things that you didn't want to do. But as you said, you can be a good leader and a role model for other kids, right? Yeah. Even just as a 5th grader, right? So what about all the younger kids that are at Dudley? You know, how important is that to you for as low as a kindergartner or a pre-K student to be a leader to them?
You're role models, so they look up at us and see that we're good leaders, and then they do be a leader.
Ooh. And whenever we go into their classroom to talk to their teachers about some upcoming event, they like us, they hug us, they're really happy around us. Mm-hmm. And that makes them feel good, but it also makes us feel really good.
Because you know that you're a role model to them, right? Whether it's a good role model or a bad role model, and you try to be a good role model, and that starts with being a good leader. So if you would, one of you, if you would, remind us of the day and the time of the event.
Leadership Day is Friday, March 29th. It's at 9 a.m. to 10:30. You are invited to a leadership museum, and you can visit all around our school.
Was there anything that we missed this morning that you would like for the folks that are out there, whether they're watching right here on your neighborhood network, Cable 12, or they're watching us live on Facebook this morning, or one of our re-shows of this, that you would like them to know about Dudley?
Everyone's invited to our Leadership Day, and not only do we get to have a good time, but they get to have a good time and play with us and learn with us.
Absolutely. So it sounds like it's going to be a fun time, and Dudley sounds like a pretty awesome school to go to. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good principal?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for coming out this morning. Sorry we couldn't get you out of any more school than this, but looks like you're going to make it on time this morning. But again, thank you guys for coming out and telling us about this great event.